Ready? Lean in. All right.
Very good. Nice to be happy about that. All right, everybody, here we are.
Hello,
Dave
hello.
and Tom with the BlabberMalt Show. This is episode 111 for July 29th, 2025. Yeah, we got a super exciting episode for you tonight. We made a trip down to Kent, Ohio to visit these beautiful people at Bell Tower Brewing Company.
Welcome.
Jennifer,
People, yeah.
Carl, how are you guys?
Doing great, doing great. So who do we have here with? We've got Jennifer
Hi, I'm Jennifer Herman.
and
I'm Carl Walter.
Yeah,
welcome.
so this is the team that made these great beers we're going to sample tonight.
Let's start with our toast.
Yeah, let's
What
toast.
are we toasting with right now?
This is Geisterglock, our German Pilsner. Geisterglock means spirit of the bell.
Spirit of the
Spirit
Bell.
Bell. For the Bell Tower.
5%, 37 IBUs, all size, all Pilsner.
Very
Nice and
noble.
smooth.
Yes, very good. Hey guys, before we get too far, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are the BlabberMalt Show, Facebook, YouTube. We're also, get that beer down. Cross-posting on the Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News as well. They get us a lot of views, so we really appreciate them allowing us to be there. We are at BlabberMalt at X, Instagram, and Threads, and Spotify. All the other places will be up tomorrow. So where can people find you guys on the social medias?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And I don't do very much social media, so that's all I know.
Okay. No TikToks.
Belltower.com, absolutely. Belltowerbrewing.com will lead you to the website, and you can see all of our events. You can see our beer menu, other menus.
Nice. And this beautiful tap room, what's the address? How can people find you there?
We are at 310 Park Avenue in beautiful Kent, Ohio. We are just west of the Cuyahoga River. So once you cross Main Street, that way you go to Ravenna, that way you go to Stowe. And the Cuyahoga River is right across the street under the ledge, under the ditch there, and right there.
And you guys are just south of downtown, right? Downtown's that
West
way.
of downtown,
West
yeah.
of downtown?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. We are in the West River neighborhood of Kent, Ohio. It is not easy to find, or it's not easy to find a reason to come to Kent. But once you're here, you will love it. We have nature, we have a thriving downtown, and we have beautiful beer and lovely food here.
Yeah, I was gonna
Beautiful
say,
beer.
yeah, we've been down. I mean, the downtown area is very walkable. There's lots
Yeah.
of restaurants and bars down there as well. So it's actually, you guys have the art festivals that happen down there, and I know you guys participate in some that you sponsor here as well, I believe.
And there's lots of music fests. I think there's at least six. Six. We just had Blues Fest has it been 3 weeks ago now? It seems like the next one's coming up next week. I don't know. The music fests are very cool. A lot of the venues downtown and around will host musicians, and it's just great. It's just great.
Get a beer and music.
Yep.
Good. And food, because I know you guys offer food here as well, which is fantastic. We'll talk about that in a little bit as we get into the particulars of your place.
Yeah, it's a great combination, beer and food and music.
And
I mean,
music.
you can't beat that.
That almost sounds like the BlabberMalt Show.
Yeah, well, beer brewing and bullcrap. We got a little bullcrap. I don't know if you guys are fans of bullcrap, but we certainly are.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That wasn't a yes.
I
That
don't
was a
really
good.
know what that means, but
Shenanigans, tomfoolery.
let's talk some shit. I mean, I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we really appreciate you guys having us. We do want to get into these beautiful flights of beers and sample them, talk about them, and talk about Bell Tower a little bit. Sound like fun?
Yeah.
Great.
All right, what beer should we get into first here?
Let's talk with the first beer. Well, actually, we don't brew the first beer that we brewed anymore. We instead brewed a saison, a different version of saison. The first beer that we brewed to put in the tank was saison de clocher, which is French for season of the bell tower. It kind of
I'm seeing a theme here.
yes. Well, there was supposed to have been a theme, and then the themes got kind of splintered. So now I have certain themes for certain things, like all of the hazies have some sort of church or reference. And it's mostly because I have a thing about hazies where I don't drink them, but I love to brew them. And so I like to have fun with that. We have a double hazy that's in the tank right now that's called Confessional. And it really is a nod to the brewers that don't really drink hazies, but God, is it fun brewing them. And when you really nail it in people, hazy drinkers that come in and really enjoy it, it's really fun. This is our single hazy IPA. It's called Penance, or it's actually we called it a hazy pale ale because it's only 5%. Go ahead and taste that.
All right, so we'll start with the
I mean,
penance. So this is the penance.
I mean, for a lager brewer, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really
That's
should
very-
have started with the confessional before the penance, but since it's in the tank, we'll
Since it's
wait.
in the tank, we can't really get to it.
I get it.
All right, so tell us,
Makes sense.
what kind of hops are in this one?
In the Penance, that is Citra, Simcoe, Amarillo. Very classic, very just mellow. Just enough bitterness. It's 5%. It's 25 IBUs, so it's a little bit more bitter than what we used to do with our single hazies. And so we tried to differentiate a little bit. I think it's very challenging to find new things to do with a style of beer that plays well with certain types of hops. So when you now introduce new varieties to a newer beer style, sometimes it can get muddled and feel not so enjoyable. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let Carl take over the hazy talk because it's really hard when you don't drink them and seek them out to understand what actually would make it better.
I mean, to me, it is very refreshing, citrusy, and then you get the hop. So it's not hop forward to me. It's more of that citrus, which for a hazy, you want that to be in there, and it's extremely refreshing.
Yes.
And the fact that it's 5%, I mean, it makes it more of almost an all-day refreshing, juicy beer to drink for me.
I agree. Like Jennifer said, neither of us are really huge fans of the hazies. We try to put a little bit of bitterness in them that maybe isn't typically there, but since we're more fans of hops, and that's part of my problem with hazies is it can make so many other beers with all those hops.
I think it's interesting. We always ask people, "What's your favorite beer to brew? What's your favorite beer to drink?" You don't really care for this style of beer, but you really like brewing them. Yep. Is that true?
I think it's challenging because I actually don't want to enjoy it. I can't see the end game for me enjoying it. Whereas most of the other beers that we brew here, I see myself drinking them at the end of the day, or I imagine certain scenarios where it would be perfect to be enjoying the beer. And hazies just don't fit into any kind of category for me, other than watching regulars come in and they can't wait for confessional or they can't wait for the hazy. And so I think that is a different part of the game that I'm recognizing is very valuable and interesting, because I would much rather them come in and say, I want to drink Geisterglack, and I would be floored. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that goes to the thing that, Dave, you're kind of talking about is as we meet and talk with brewers, there's the beers that you kind of have to brew to please the masses, and you want to see them that's very popular. It may not be the style that you personally enjoy or even personally enjoy brewing, but I think as a business, you probably need to sometimes venture into those styles. And again, it doesn't mean you have to do seltzers and ciders and everything else just to appease all the masses, but you may need to get a little uncomfortable in your zone just to brew a variety that may be popular. And again, and it may change. Who knows? Hazies 5 years from now might be out. I mean, they seem to have plateaued, but all of a sudden they seem to be back again. I thought it was a phase, but
Yeah.
it seems to be here.
Jennifer can hope.
I don't think they'll go away. I think they might drop down in prominence, but once something's there, there's always a market for it. Somebody's might be a niche market, but somebody's going to enjoy those.
And if it's a good beer, again, to me, that's a very, I can't see anything off-putting in it that I would not want to drink it, even if I wasn't a hazy person. It's a good beer.
Well, so here's the thing. I mean, if you're going to call yourself a brewer, it's kind of like calling yourself a chef. You might not enjoy cooking salmon, or you might not want to grill a steak because you have a better way of cooking it. But at the end of the day, you're still going to put your all and all of your passion and your soul into what you're creating. So even though I don't enjoy them per se, I still enjoy the process. I still enjoy discovering processes that I'm not comfortable with 100%. When we first started brewing these, we were using Quebec. We were fermenting at 95. I was experimenting with biotransformation. And at the end of the day, I didn't like it. I went back, now there's hazy yeast, which wasn't around 4 years ago, which is really very fun. We did not open with our own IPA, either a West Coast, a standard traditional, or a hazy. We had brewed a collaboration with Brighton that was, we called it Bright Bell, which was a hazy. And of course it was popular, but we didn't have our own for a while. We started brewing traditional American IPAs, to differentiate that from West Coast. So not Citra, not Simcoe Forward. This was classic, more Cascade and Centennial. And so, I don't know, that was kind of fun to play around with, but I think it was a deliberate decision to not open with an IPA. Although I enjoy brewing them, and I think they're one of the most fun things in the world to brew, and when you nail them, there is nothing like nailing an IPA. But I wanted to establish a certain type of menu for a certain type of demographic. I know that there was 4 demographics that we were targeting, but I wanted to narrow in on what I like to drink in my generation, because we had seen what happened in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. It's a different scene now from what we were drinking. You guys are maybe,
She's looking at us. She's trying to guess.
so
Yeah.
I was born in 1970.
So we're both a little bit older than you.
You're a little bit older, but not that much.
Not that
Not
much.
a decade older than me.
No.
Maybe 5-6 years.
Good guess.
It's
Ballpark.
close. But I'm
Yep.
just saying, you guys were drinking at 18 legally, right?
Yep.
So in the beer that you were drinking though was like this. This is
We were poor. We weren't drinking beer this good.
This is Amazing Grace. This is our American Light Lager. It's 4%.
So I was
it's
drinking
absolutely perfect.
St. Pauli Girl Dark and Warsteiner Dunkel were my 2 favorites
But
back then.
What?
Most people weren't.
Most people were drinking. Most people were
But
drinking American Light Lager.
So this is your Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace. It's spelled AMAIZING, as in maize, corn,
Okay.
and of course we're in a church, so it fits. It's also 4% in 11 IBUs, so it's non-obtrusive, but it's also doesn't have very much of anything.
So
What I love-
So is this a cream?
No, it's an American Light Lager.
American Light Lager.
What I love to remind people about the American Light Lager, because it gets such a bad rap, the brewers that produce them do so consistently over so many miles. So the beer that the Busch Light that you can drink in Ohio is the same Busch Light that you're going to drink in Northern California, which is a pretty remarkable feat when you think about it. Also, there is nothing remarkable about this beer. If there is anything to remark about it, it's a flaw, and it should be discarded. You can't hide anything in that beer. So
no.
if you can actually brew this and have it sell well, then you're doing something right. I love this beer because of just that fact. I dumped a batch 2 months ago because it had a flaw. It wasn't the brewery's fault. But if you're not attuned to that and you're tasting something that shouldn't be there, especially in an American light lager, then it's flawed, it's failed.
So what is the
Go
major characteristics to make it American light lager? So is it the fact that it's got a amount of corn in it? Obviously that's light. What other characteristics make an American light lager American light lager?
Well, I can talk about how we brew ours. And when I say that there's nothing remarkable about them, I mean that you shouldn't taste or smell DMS or diacetyl or acetaldehyde, which are three of the biggest things that you would be looking for when you're judging an American light lager. It should, I mean, when you smell this and taste this, the only thing that I smell is Pils malt. That's what the BJCP says. You smell a Pils malt. You shouldn't smell anything else. Low this, low that, nothing this, nothing that, nothing that. We brew ours with the San Francisco lager yeast. So we ferment it warm and cold condition it. Depends on how you want to talk about, is it an ale or a lager? I don't know. We ferment it at 58 degrees, and then we certainly cold condition it in our horizontal lager tanks. We use sauce hops, but it's got 11 IBUs, so there's like 8 ounces in first wort. I'm a first wort hopper. I love first wort hopping. And it's all Pils malt with enough acid malt to correct Kent's super weird water.
Which we'll get into that, because that's a question we'd like to ask, is the impact of water, since that's probably the largest ingredient in any
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah, I don't brew light lagers because I can't do it. I can't do it like that. You can taste stuff. You can taste DMS. You can smell it. So I don't do it on a homebrew side. But yeah, it's very clean. And yeah, you can't hide anything in there. There's nothing hiding. It's delicious. Thank you.
Peekaboo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of hit on the topic of, what we used to drink back in let's just say early 80s as far as beers. What was your gateway beer to craft brewing? Was there a beer that hit you in the maybe late 80s or somewhere in
Or
life?
what did you start out drinking as far as light lagers?
Vodka.
Vodka.
One of my favorite beers, vodka, yes.
So Carl and I have
The
known each
lightest
other
of the
for a really
lagers.
long time. So we
So wait a minute,
went
but-
through a number of different waves of
Yeah.
drinking. We've
Probably
had
cut my teeth on Wiedemann grenades.
Oh,
Yo.
wait a minute.
Graduated up to
Jenny's.
the Jenny Cream Ale Pounders.
yep, Little Kings, 7 ounces, like
Little
so
Kings.
fast.
Yeah.
There was some Colorasi in there sometimes, Carl.
That's spelled with a C, though.
Stick with the beer.
Let's just stick with the beer. Okay, that's a good story though.
So wait, well, since we've gone down that track, though, so
Anyway.
Jennifer, we know you're
Yeah.
the brewer here, kind of from the beginning. Carl, what is your role here? I see you at the beer fest. I'm assuming you're a brewer as well, assistant brewer, head brewer. How's this all working with you guys?
Yeah, in-house, I'm the assistant brewer. Back in our space, I'm the right hand. I do whatever needs to be done, what Jennifer wants done. Most of the cellaring, not that Jennifer doesn't get into it herself, but she's more involved with the business side and the planning, the organizing, and then my role is to make sure that is executed.
So there's only 2 of us. Last year we did 325 barrels, which is pretty good for a restaurant this size that doesn't distribute and doesn't can. So we have maybe 4 accounts, 2 regular accounts downtown. So we have enough work to keep me extremely busy and Carl almost full time. And yeah.
And when did you guys open? How long have you guys been open?
We've been open for 4
October
years,
21.
October 21. Me and Carl's anniversary is coming up on August 11. That was our first day brewing 4 years ago. Yeah. So back in the day, outside of all the interesting cheap beer like J. Rupert's, which was like $2.99 a 6-pack, so bad. It's such bad beer. I can
But way
literally
better than
taste
the
that
laser
beer.
malt liquor.
Oh, I don't know. The laser was like, whew, 99
Laser.
cents. Whew.
I don't even remember these.
Oh
Laser?
man, laser, 40 ounce of laser. Come on.
Schmitz or Schmaltz? Or Schmitz?
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale was a gateway to for a lot of people. It was certainly one of my bigger craft beer kind of pushes, but I think it was more a push because I had started home brewing. If I'm being honest, when I was downtown at the Loft, it was always Bass or Guinness on tap. I drank a lot of Bass Ale. The last time I had a Bass Ale was probably about 5 years ago, and I really didn't want to finish the pint because English beers just aren't my deal anymore, I suppose. But Guinness is kind of different.
Too much
So
crystal malt.
I should have probably said one of those two, but I drank more Sierra Nevada Pale Ale than any other one. So our 7th beer in the tank was cloned after Ruthless Rye, which was kind of a variation, in my opinion, of what Sierra Nevada did with their Pale Ale, but added rye, but it's still classic Cascade. And so ours is Revival, and I think
Revival.
it's absolutely lovely.
And the style of this is
It's
called
we call it an American rye pale ale.
Rye Pale Ale?
Rye pale ale. It is 5.6% with 35 all Cascade IBUs. So we use Cascade first wort. We bitter a little bit we do a charge of Magnum, and I stopped believing in late edition hops except for Whirlpool and dry hopping. So we drop our temp down to 185 and put just enough to not be overwhelming, but certainly to get the idea that is Cascade. And then we do a small charge of dry hop, but nothing like what we do with our IPAs. And we make sure that it's crystal fucking clear and it is delightful.
It sure is. Yeah, that's good. Very good. Thank you so much.
I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the maltiness that comes through a little bit in that.
And you do get
So-
that rye spice a little bit from that rye.
Just a bite.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
bite.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll
people
get-
always ask me my favorite beer, and I can't pick a favorite beer, but I do tell them if I was stuck on an island with one of our beers, I would choose Revival.
Revival.
I'll pass this down to you if you pass
the. I want to
this
like
one.
it. I want to like it as much as I like Geisterglock, but I just like Pilsners. So Revival was named after an Allman Brothers song, but it was also named because Sierra Nevada discontinued their Ruthless Rye. And so as a home brewer, I was kind of mad about it, but I wanted to, I needed to perfect it because I needed to have that more than I needed to have Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. And so as Allman Brothers fans, both of me and Carl are, I try to throw in musical references whenever it is suitable, which is always, but.
Always.
I mean,
Unless it's a church reference.
Yeah, you can.
Churches-
It's Allman Brothers, the Death
right.
Rocks.
Yeah.
churches, music,
All around.
I mean,
Again, that's something we usually ask as well. Is, where's the creativity coming for names? So you've kind of given. I mean, we had some Bell themed because of Bell Tower, and we're sitting in a. I think you'd mentioned, is it 1858 old
Yep.
church?
So it was built as the second built First Congregational Church of Kent, and it was built in 1858. So I believe this is 1858. We named our American Porter after the year that our building was built, and the reason is because that in 1858, it wasn't anywhere near the start of the craft beer revolution, but there were more breweries. There was more breweries open in 1858 than there were in 1920. So remember what happened with Prohibition and how it kind of killed our industry. It slowly moved back up into it, but that wasn't until 1980. Remember, folks, in 1858, there was over 4,300 breweries brewing beer. And what were they brewing? Porter. They weren't brewing Pilsners. They weren't brewing pale ales. And they certainly weren't brewing hazies. They were brewing porters. And most of them were kind of sour because things were just starting to happen as far as refrigeration and as far as understanding how to
Cleanliness,
keep beer. Right, and we were just understanding all that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to pay homage to not only this beautiful building that houses my tap room where these beers are flowing from, but also to remind people that it was a significant year for the American beer industry. And we're Bell Tower is a part of that history. We're a part of this timeline. Every single brewery that's opened or has closed or whatever is a part of this very significant timeline in a very small slice of everything. I mean, think about the universe and think about our timeline here and our time here. I'm sorry. I have been traveling to other places because there's too much going on in the real world that I have to escape. But it grounds me and reminds me, like, this is, I mean, part of my passion comes from what I think that I was supposed to be doing. Do you want to get there? Do you want to go there? Do you want to go philosophy? Do you know what your purpose is? Because I don't know yet what my purpose is.
We're all figuring
it is
it
to
out.
make people
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah.
I've made you smile at least once today.
Yeah.
And if I've done that, I've done something very significant.
Well, think
and you're
about.
going to remember that. And you're going to remember this conversation about 1858, quarter.
Yeah.
Go ahead, try it.
I'm just looking at it like,
I know, right?
So, when did this stop being a church? Do you know?
Actually, I don't know that year. It was a number of,
in the 40s.
I was going to
40s?
say 40s too. So
Okay.
there was a period of time that it sat empty. It's only changed hands 3 times. So it's always been a family, in the family until Mr. and Mrs. Tipton bought it and took the property over. Before Bell Tower, it was R.W. Martin, which now has a new facility, which is 4 times as big and not in a church. They were an industrial manufacturing thing. They had most of their operation was happening in the garage where the brewery was. This sanctuary area sat empty. They had their office space in cubicles in the West Room where we host events. And there was banana leaf trees. It was gorgeous. Banana leaf trees, and that was pretty much here. In this space.
wow.
I have understood rumored stories that the city wanted to demolish it to make room for more parking. And Sean, the owner of R.W. Martin, said no way, and kind of then decided that he was going to move his business there. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's kind of how the story went.
That would have been a travesty.
And then he,
This
yep,
beautiful building. Yeah.
yep. And then he took immaculate care of it. I had just moved back from Cincinnati when,
Cincinnati. I knew you went I know you went somewhere south after
Cincinnati,
Market
yeah.
Garden of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he took really good care of it, and you can still tell. It's just a really nice old building.
So you were talking about 4,300 breweries, and just think about the population was a fraction of what it is
Yes.
now. So, I mean, we think, craft brewing is dead, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, not even by 1858 standards.
Right.
You know.
Well, and so to finish my story from the 4,300 breweries or so in 1858, and by 1980, well, there was 100 after Prohibition, and then there was 100 by 1980. There's only 50 during this like really long stretch between the repeal of Prohibition and even 1950.
You're
And
talking
then
about Ohio
That's
now.
when I'm talking about the national
National
beer stuff happening. There was 3 big companies that emerged and kind of like just took over everything, and that's what we refer to as big beer. Especially when craft beer was starting to bloom, we talked about big beer. And big beer were people like Anheuser-Busch and Miller. This was before merges, so now it's Miller Coors. Now it's AB InBev. All of those things were not happening like they are today back in even 1995, let's say. But anyway, in 1980, Sierra Nevada opened. When Sierra Nevada opened, there was 100 breweries, humbly opened by home brewers, probably,
Yeah.
trying to express themselves through liquid art. And I think that's really important to see how much it has ballooned and outgrown itself sometimes in a certain sense from 1980. So here we are 50 some years later, and now there's over 12,000 breweries open. There's over 420 breweries in Ohio, I think 450 breweries.
Yeah,
We're
and-
the 7th largest producing state in the nation. It's incredible.
It is incredible. And, you know, you think of all these home brewers that open breweries, they created styles. AB InBev was not going to make a hazy. They were not going to bring saisons to prominence or most of these beers. AB InBev just wanted to sell a low alcohol malt beverage for us kids to drive around drinking in the backseat of our cars. You know, they weren't interested in the art of it. It took homebrewers to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about AB InBev, though, is you remember in 2015 when they did that Super Bowl commercial and they made fun of craft beer
Oh, yeah.
with the guy
Oh,
with
yeah.
the twisty mustache?
Yeah.
They actually encouraged craft beer to be like, you know what, bud? I can
Yeah,
brew
yeah.
something as, like, don't make fun of me because of my flavor, because I'm going to show you flavor. I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
show you, bud. This is what I'm all about. But look what they did. They went up and they bought, what, a dozen breweries in the next
Yeah.
10 years, and they failed. They realized they didn't fail. They pulled back and said, that's actually not our game. That's not where we need to go. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can find Busch Light Peach and Busch Light Strawberry and all that kind of stuff, but as far as a hazy IPA,
I'll drink
or
a Busch Light
Pale
Peach.
Ale,
I'm not going to lie to you.
I
I'll
mean,
drink
have
one.
you seen-
I'll
have you
drink
seen-
one.
one.
Just one.
3, you get a headache. 3, you get a headache. But you're not going to see AB InBev like Budweiser, like the old school Budweiser. They're not going to come out with the German Hefeweizen.
No.
They're going to
No.
come up with the Blue Moon, but or I guess that was no,
Yeah.
of course. But
Goose Island or whatever.
I drank the hell out of some Blue Moon at the Blues Fest, and I was very happy about it. I wasn't mad because I was not in my place. I was not at a craft brewery. I was enjoying music, and it's a delightful beer.
At least we
I'm
have
glad that
options.
they
And you go
brought-
to a music fest, right? Yeah.
I'm glad that they brought smiles to a style. That is a line.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Write that down. Write that down.
Oh, I got them all the time. It's really hard to keep track.
Yeah. Well,
So I have
Writing them down.
a question on the building. So is there still a bell in Bell Tower?
Yes.
There is. And it rings, it chimes on the hour.
Oh, she's gonna make a chime.
No, I'm not. I can't make it chime. I was just going to see what time it is.
We
If
did,
I think it's
we did reinstall a rope for the, because it has a automated clapper on it now.
Yeah.
And a device that you can set it to chime as much as you want, when you want, and all that. We did put a rope in so that you could pull it manually, but I think what happened, it turns out those bells are really heavy and that rope was not quite as big as it should have been. So it stopped working, but.
need
The
a
bell
chain
does still
maybe or
ring.
something.
Yeah.
So I will say, I'm going to go out on a venture and say that one of your favorite styles is a Saison.
Oh,
Is that correct?
we're going to talk about Saison?
Yeah, let's talk about Saison.
Let's talk about Saison.
Because somebody else
Do
here
it.
is one of their favorite
I
styles.
do
as
love
well.
saisons. Yeah.
Do we have a Saison today?
Yes.
Somewhere, I think it's number 4 on that one there.
We'll tell by the smell because Saisons smell fruity, spicy, even though there's no fruit or spice.
So this is the hallowed.
This is hallowed. So it's a new variation. So I play around with a couple different Saisons. Our first beer in the tank was the Saison. Saison de Clocher, which I mentioned 2 hours ago. And that was a 5% rye Saison that I had been brewing as a home brewer for a number of years because I really enjoy a super dry, effervescent, characterful mouthful of just awesomeness. There's something about Saisons I can't quite put my finger on. It's like everything that I want a Pilsner to be, but I don't want in my Pilsner. Like if I had any of those flavors in this beer, I would absolutely die. But when I'm in a in the mood for a saison, this is the traditional variation. So,
So maybe it's the
yeah.
term mouth. To me,
Yeah.
it's very creamier than most saisons that I've had. Again, to me, it's usually not one of my favorite styles because I've had too many that are very earthy.
That's polite.
Tastes like hay or something you find in a barn. This does not have that taste,
So-
and it also has a very it's full-bodied, creamy with a hint of those other things that you find in a saison, but it's not that overpowering of that. So
It's very complex. Starts out one way, get the mouthfeel, finishes with different things.
I think what
different
happened with
chords.
saisons, somehow we started interpreting Brettanomyces, which is a wild yeast that can be added to so many different styles to enhance their characteristics. Somewhere along the line, we became confused and started associating those sorts of characteristics that Brett brings, which are traditional and standard traditional for lambics, not for saisons. So you can brew a really nice saison with those characteristics, but somewhere along the line we got our lines crossed. And so now when you taste a saison and you don't have that, you get mad. Or when you taste a saison and they say it's a saison but they don't tell you it has Brett, you get mad. And so now we're at this, I feel like for a brewer that loves to brew saisons, how can I reverse that? How can I gently reintroduce the style? So we did Saison Fest. Last year was our first one. This year was our second one. Both times we had extreme weather, which makes for great storytelling. Come on. The first year was during hurricane season. It was late September. It was when the Carolinas were getting devastated, right? And so we had
cool. It was damp.
60 degrees, dampness, and then
Little breezy.
yeah. This past year we had at the end of June, and it was 95 degrees outside with full sun and miserable. And everybody went home with most of their beer because nobody wanted to drink, but we were all hanging out together. But there's you either love them or you hate them, and I think that it takes some education for certain beer styles to really be recognized for what they are, which I think either you want to do that as a brewer or you don't like the style, or I think you're either in one camp or the other.
So I see that you're calling this, and
Yeah.
educate me, it's a Belgian saison. Are all saisons Belgian, or is some have I'm assuming the Belgian references the yeast profile? Is that, and is every
Yes.
saison Belgian, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. It's a region that spans across Belgium, Luxembourg, France, so that general area of Europe. So it's not just a Belgian style.
Okay.
So it's kind of like saying all Pilsners are lagers, but not all lagers are Pilsners. So all saisons are Belgian. Oh, you can't really do it the other way, though.
Yeah.
So you can have, when you say there's a French saison, it generally means they use a French saison yeast. But the same thing goes for most other beers. So the German Pilsner is different from a Czech Pilsner because of the yeast. They probably have very similar ingredients. I think that historically, especially before malt became modified, you could find some variations, but it generally refers to what the yeast is. And that's also one of the main categories for understanding how beer is classified, especially when it comes to judging and how you understand styles, is usually by yeast. The easiest way to understand from a very rudimentary standpoint is it an ale? Is it a lager? Is it a Belgian? And then now we talk about wild ales. So that's where the confusion comes in, because a lot of saisons can fit into wild ales. Not all wild ales are saisons.
Okay.
Now,
Does that make sense?
It does.
When I brew saisons, the yeasts are very finicky and they tend to stall out on me. So I'll start out with one and add another one that does better. Do you use any of the saison blends, or do you have one that's pretty reliable?
So I always used French saison, and French is easy to work with because it has diastaticus, which will ferment your baby puppy. It's just, I mean, it's super aggressive, right? Belgian Saisons have a very interesting reputation because they can stall, so they can be finicky. Most people, let me ask you what temperature you ferment your Saison at.
Pretty warm, 67.
67, but
Yeah.
is that where you keep it at, 67, or that's where you
Well,
pitch it?
That's where I pitch it, and
You let it free rise?
I usually I have to, all right, go, add something. I'll usually start with the, I forget the number.
3711,
Yeah,
565.
yeah. I think 565 is what I end up
565 is the
finish
Belgian,
it.
so
Yeah,
that's the traditional Saison DuPont.
yeah. And yeah, when it stalls out, you add the other one, heat it up a little bit, and then it'll. Sometimes it doesn't even get there, and you're like, well, it's gonna be a little heavy, a little sweet.
Well, you hit on the most frustrating part about understanding how to ferment Saisons. So somewhere along the line, we also thought that Saisons wanted to be fermented at 85 to 90 degrees all the time, and we should just let it free rise until it's done. And what happens is the yeast gets super tired, kind of like I felt today when the brewery was 95 degrees. I'm super tired and I can't think anymore.
free
You know what,
rising.
right, I am free rising. Either I'm absolutely going to go nuts or I got to go find somewhere else to sit. When you don't have anywhere else to go, you're going to fry out. And I think that's what happens with Saisons. I think that if you can get your Saison to a certain attenuation point, then it's safe to say that you can let it free rise. I mean, you want to do that with your lagers anyway. Once you get a certain point through where you know your Pilsner is going to ferment at, you need to give it a diacetyl rest to make sure that a diacetyl rest is making sure that you're giving the yeast the proper amount of time to do what its job, which is to ferment all of those sugars and also to clean up all of its byproducts. Because as it's pooping out CO2 and alcohol, it's leaving everything else behind. And so
Creating a mess.
if you bring your Saison up to a certain level too fast, certain temperature too fast, you're not giving it the opportunity to actually do its job. And you're doing your yeast a disservice
Yeah,
if you
you
say it
gotta let
like
it-
that. And that's what
Maybe it
another
takes a
reason
little
why-
time, a little longer time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's another reason why I get super excited
But I
about
want to drink it
Saisons.
now.
It's another reason why Saisons get a bad rap, because if you're not letting them finish, then they're going to be super cloying, meaning very sweet on the back end, which means that it was under attenuated because you didn't give the yeast enough chance to get it down to that negative Plato. Like you want to be 0.5 Plato, 1 Plato is where you want your finishing gravity to be, so it is super dry. If it's not super dry, you're tasting the sweetness and you're not tasting the phenols. You're not tasting what the yeast actually wants to show you. Like,
And
this
it's
is
just a Belgian.
what, it, yeah.
Yeah, or just
I mean,
an ale.
there's something very cool about what a yeast will show you about the ingredients that you used. So, even though this Pilsner is very well attenuated, it's certainly not as dry and shouldn't be as dry, because if it was, it wouldn't be a Pilsner, as the same way that a Saison is. So, yeah, I'll stop.
It'd be a Kolsch. Right?
So you mentioned a little bit earlier that you were home brewing. And I think that's kind of how this whole world started for you, other than tasting some craft beers. I guess before you had this, were you home brewing before Sierra Nevada Pale Ale or after? And how'd that journey start with you?
In 1998, I was introduced to homebrewing by Carl Walter. Yes, so I started extract brewing. Almost immediately, I met after we brewed our.
So are we talking
Extract,
kits?
extract.
We're talking kits and stuff. So this is.
I did not brew kits.
Oh no, it's not a kit. Okay.
I
Bathtub.
no, I didn't do kits. I went to Graven Grandery and he gave me a Dortmunder recipe, Great Lakes Dortmunder recipe. He gave me. I used to brew a lot of Dortmunder. I brewed some Hefeweizen, maybe. When I think about it now, it's like, I don't think that was Hefeweizen, but it was drinkable.
And what were you brewing in? Were you brewing on your stove? Were you brewing in a...
I met a guy and I stole his equipment.
his
And
name-
then I moved
was
to
his name
Cincinnati.
Carl?
It was
No, it was not named Carl.
I still have my equipment.
So it's funny when we were at a last
I
event.
got some of the equipment he replaced her stolen stuff with.
So at the event that we saw you at last week or 2 weekends ago, somebody asked me how. They asked us how long we've been together. I'm like, we've been together for 37 years, and you should meet his wife. Because you would have no idea. I mean, look, we wear bandanas, we're old. It seems like we used to hang out together. Right, we get along, we like the same music, like all this kind of stuff. We've known each other since high school, and it just we were talking about brewing probably over a pitcher of Bass down at the loft, and we went and had a pitcher of Bass after we brewed, because my first home brew was a Bass Clone Ale. That was the other one. I used to brew Bass
And Dortmunder?
and Dortmunder, and then Hefeweizen sometime. But I never did the kits. I read Charlie's book, so I brewed a lot of his recipes in there. I started brewing his steam ale, or whatever it was, so I became a huge California Common fan. That was my Kent years between 1998 and 2002, and then I moved to Cincinnati with the dude that I stole the equipment from. Sorry, Daryl, I know you're more than a dude. He's my best friend in the world, but we didn't make it. But I still have his equipment.
You got that in the breakup, huh?
So if you were brewing back then, you're probably sanitizing with bleach solution like we all did starting out. There was no Star San. Nobody had, or iodine. Sanitizing with iodine?
Did not use Star San until I was at Rockmill because of their water situation. So I used iodophor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stain all your
I never used bleach.
plastic.
I never used bleach.
And Carl, how did you start home brewing?
I got introduced to home brewing through another mutual friend of ours from high school. He had gone down to Ohio, the western campus at Miami of Ohio, and came back, and a roommate of his had turned him on to brewing. He's like, "You got to try this," because like Jennifer said, at that point we had kind of gone into Bass and what limited imports were available at the time.
Flying Dog.
Uh,
I feel like Flying Dog was another one of my gateways.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, Pete's was probably my first
Pete's, yeah.
gateway
Pete's Wick has
commercial
come up
wise,
with-
but I feel real lucky.
And Red Hook.
Red Hook, yeah, when it was Red Hook before
When it
it
was-
got
yeah.
bought out. But
Or
then
Years
also
Ago.
Great Lakes, being here in Kent and Cleveland, we would make regular trips up, especially Christmas time, go get a bowl of Stilton cheddar at Great Lakes and a couple pints of whatever they were serving at the time. And then when my friend, introduced me, and I went into Grape and Granary, and I saw like there were more than the varieties that I had been introduced to. I'm like, oh my God, you can make this, you can make that, and that's what hooked me, was just that there were
Kid in
all
a
these
candy store.
Yeah, and I mean, they're historical styles. It's just that I didn't know about them. I mean, I tell people now, like, I'm not a huge fan of sours, because when I started homebrewing, I didn't know about sours. They were still in Europe. I brewed a couple sours early on.
Not intentionally.
Yeah, involuntary sours.
Involuntary
Yeah.
sours, and so when I first had a sour, I'm like, that's one of
This
my
tastes like
shit
home brew.
beers. Why would I drink this? I dumped that. I've come to appreciate, and I have a growing sense of them. But yeah, just a friend of mine, he showed me, and like say with Great Lakes here.
So we had you doing a Bass knockoff and a Dortmunder. Do you remember what your first homebrew kind of styles were that you did?
I think the first one I did, and it was the friend of mine. I was also dating his sister. So the first one I did after he went back to school, his sister and we brewed amber hoppy ale, a Bass type. I think at
That's not an amber hop.
Yeah,
Bass is
that's
not an amber hoppy ale.
Bass is not amber.
We made it happy.
relative to what was available at the time, I guess, in historical sense.
It wasn't sour, was it?
It wasn't sour. That one turned out well.
A sour bass, yes.
I like stouts. I think the Grape and Granary Ohio Fair gold medal winner was probably, or blue ribbon winner was my second beer. Mostly, I kind of gravitated early on to that amber copper color with some hops.
Okay.
And then shortly after being introduced, I went up and I lived in Burlington for a few years. They had Magic Hat up there, and then that just kind of blew me away because they wouldn't even really tell you what their beer was, and they were very experimental. They had a couple solid core beers. They had a Blind Faith IPA, awesome. Heart of Darkness.
They're the ones that had the peach one, or is it
Apricot.
Apricot number nine,
Apricot
number 9. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Used to piss me off.
But when I was up there, before they were commercially available, outside of the Burlington area, they had started doing real experimental stuff. Like I said, they'd throw flavors in there, but like they'd be real coy on their labeling on what it was. They wouldn't actually tell you the style or whatnot. And so that kind of opened my eyes to the
You're on camera.
experimental side of it.
What's our next beer? What would you like to?
I don't know what this really super effervescent one is, but I see it bubbling back there. I'm gonna guess that's the peach tart.
Oh, the
Let's
peach
talk
tart,
about tarts.
which we had a chance to try at the Brewers of the Corn. It was delicious.
Oh, then you haven't had it yet.
I
yes.
have not.
So this one's called Golden Hour. It's only 4%. We don't
Golden
use
shower?
Golden.
Hour.
Golden hour. I'm sorry.
No S.
Are we going to talk about Russia now? Oh, never mind. Golden Hour. 4%, no IBUs. We don't use any hops in it at all. We use peach juice concentrate. So me and Ken Waldack at Crafted are tight, and he lets me tack on to his shipping order. So I started using, he was ordering the same juice that I was, and so it's really great. I moved away from puree because I don't particularly like a tart that is cloudy. It's kind of off-putting to me, but I really like the way that our fermentation method is the traditional. It's kind of a blend of the traditional way to make Berliner Weiss, but I wouldn't call it a Berliner Weiss because I'm not using raw wheat. I'm not doing a turbid mash. I'm not doing all the traditional ways that Berliner Weisses were brewed, but I am using lactobacillus to drop my pH to a certain level, and then pitching sack, and then lowering the temperature, oxygenating, and making a super clean tart, I think.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Enjoy that.
We were talking about that. The pH made me think of water, and we kind of
Oh,
touched
yeah,
on it a little bit.
let's
So
talk about water.
let's talk about water. I mean, you mentioned here in Kent some
Water's
challenges.
weird.
So, for those of you that understand water, if I told you that our water in the summertime was a pH of 9.4, and I have 12 calcium, 69 sodium, 78 chloride, 7 magnesium.
Wow.
Would you be
Seems
like,
very
and my
basic.
dissolved solids are 350. So,
And you said summer, so is it different depending on the time of year?
my pH goes down to about 9.1. So the interesting thing is that if you know that, and if you know how to navigate that, and thank you, Martin Brune. If you don't know Brune water, I absolutely recommend for all you home brewers or newer pro brewers that don't understand water to take his little online course, which is not a course at all. It means that you open up his 5-paragraph water chemistry thing, read it 3 times a night for a month, and you become an expert. Make sure that you get your water report before you do it, but it's extremely useful to understand what you already have
starting with.
available. And so it was either I understand my water or I get an RO system. Either way, you're going to have to understand your water. I decided that my water is good enough if acid malt is going to work. So as a home brewer, I started, as a home brewer anyway, I was also already using acid malt, even though I didn't know why. And then I came to find out that I'm using it because I'm lowering my pH. So you need to get your mash at a certain pH level so that enzyme conversion takes place. If you don't have proper enzymatic conversion, then your yeast is going to be like, I'm not going to ferment anything.
Yeah, I'm not doing nothing.
So I don't, yeah. So once you figure that out, then you just need to be able to learn how to tweak your water. Some waters are unsavable. Canton's, certain parts of Canton have pockets of areas where the water is unsavable. So you put an RO system, a reverse osmosis system in, where it strips everything out, and then you have to rebuild your water, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because historically, all right, you ready for the deep dive?
Yes.
Styles were developed because of the ingredients that were available to the regions that were brewing them. So we understand that porters need a certain water chemistry to be able to pronounce, is that the right word? Pronounce roasted malts, or to be able to use roasted malts in water. When I add roasted malts to my water, with such a high, I have such a high pH, and adding acid lowers my pH. Anyway, styles were developed because of the water that was available.
Yeah,
to
the
them.
water determined what beers tasted
could
good,
do.
so then
Yes.
that's why they.
Yes. So porters became.
And science gave you the ability to brew all things with the same water if you change and know what to interact with it.
And if you understand anything about reading, you can figure it out yourself too.
It's science, kids.
That's it. And reading.
Repeatable results.
And
Literacy
reading,
is
yeah.
very important.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your brewing system you have here. We took a little brief tour. I saw some nice shiny Portland Kettleworks stuff back there. So what size brew house, fermenters, blah blah blah, all that stuff. What you got?
So we brew on a 12 hectoliter system.
I'm gonna have to.
That's
Do
also
conversion.
known, right? That's also known as 12. That's the way that you impress people.
Okay. I was.
It's also
Use the metric system.
yeah,
Was that about 10 gallons? I'm not
about
sure.
10 barrels.
Yeah, 10
That's
barrels.
also 310 gallons. And so that's when people be like, oh, 310. It's like, imagine 310 gallon jugs of milk. That's how much we can actually brew at a time. Oh, wow. But visually, I mean, think about it. If you're not directly involved with volumes all the time, it's really hard to understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I can say that to you even if you hadn't seen the brewery, and then I go back and show you, like, oh, I see that visually now. That's this much volume.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have, our capacity though is much larger. So we have an oversized 10-barrel system. I can fit 17 barrels of wort into my kettle. I can mash up to 1,000 pounds of malt. Not efficiently, but I can fit 1,000 pounds of malt into our,
Pack it in there.
so this is
1,000 pounds of malt.
1,000 pounds of malt. This is Circle Round the Sun.
Okay.
It's our anniversary barley wine, brewed in the American barley wine tradition of Bigfoot. So
Sierra Nevada Bigfoot.
I love
Sierra Nevada, huh?
yeah, it seems like Sierra Nevada, and you are kind of like. Anyway,
Yeah, is that one of the guest taps you have on
it
too?
is. We actually do have a guest
I
tap.
know.
But we can fit 1,000 pounds. We figured that out. If we take our Vorloff arm and kind of take it off, or like tweak it up a little bit, and you have to take our CIP.
Take the spray
Yeah.
arm off the inside.
It's very fun. We brew it once a year. We brew it we decided that
Gotta
we
make
would
sure you
brew it
cap it, too.
every 50th batch. So we're on batch 183 coming up. So in 17 more batches, we will be on batch number 5 for Circle Around the Sun. Circle Around the Sun obviously is a reference to Circling Around the Sun, which is a
It takes like a year to
anniversary
do,
time.
right?
It takes like 364 and 1/4 days or something like that.
365 and a quarter.
365 and a quarter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the leap year has
Oh,
366
yes,
days.
yeah. No, it doesn't. 366?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not, it's a quarter each year that adds up.
Yeah.
After 4 years, the quarters add up to one extra day.
Right. I still know that it's once, once around the sun. It's also a reference to Tedeschi Trucks made a really cool song named Circle Around the Sun. And so here's to you, Derek, Susan. Thank you very much. Falcon?
So 1,000 pounds, what does that yield into the fermenter? Is that a full?
Well, and that's the interesting part because there's some really cool science stuff that happens when you put too much malt in a vessel that can hold that much malt, but can't really make you use it efficiently. So when I brew a Pilsner, my efficiency is, it's say 85%. When I brew this barley wine, it's more like 63%. So you actually lose a lot. Last year we got smart and used the second runnings from our barley wine to brew our Irish red.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, yeah, double runnings or
We called it
party
Celtic
guile.
Knot.
Celtic Knot, Irish ale.
Irish ale.
Celtic knot.
Ha ha.
Oh. Okay.
Nice.
So I
See,
mean,
they do like bull crap. See?
right.
We enjoy shenanigans, for sure.
What comes
Some
first?
Irish shenanigans.
What comes first, the beer or the name? I mean, that's kind of a fun question too, because if you have a really good word or a really good name,
You'll make
what
a beer for it.
you will make the beer for it eventually, or you're gonna have a beer and be like, I don't know what I'm gonna name this.
But we've had people trying to make
Yeah.
a moist beer that
Oh, God.
we've not been able to do the moist.
Somebody's going to do it one day for us.
That's
Yeah.
gross. No, I can't go there.
Shout out to you,
Oh,
Ann.
It's not going to be
Oh,
Jennifer,
of course
apparently.
it's Ann.
Yeah, right?
That's interesting. I never would have thought that a name would come before the beer. Usually it's the beer that inspires the name. But
Sometimes you have a name though, and you just have to brew a beer for that.
that's interesting. I don't think we ever had somebody talk about that.
It's that's.
So you've had
I
some beers
mean,
where you've started with a name first?
We have a tart that we do for solstice, winter solstice, that we used apricot because of Jennifer's affinity for the word apricity, which is the warmth of the sun
Warmth of the sun.
on a winter's day. So when
Cold winter's day.
Cold winter's day. So when you're out on that hike and you're frigid, but yet your face, you just feel that warmth from the
Sun.
sun. That's apricity. So we devised our own spin on that word, apricious. So
We made up an adjective.
we made up an adjective from a word that we wanted to make a apricot beer to represent that word. So in this case, it was the word that brought us to apricot.
And apricot, what kind of, was it what kind
It
of
was
apricot beer?
This exact same thing as a peach, except and the exact same thing. So seasonally, we're working on doing 4 different seasonal tarts. We could call them sours. We call them tarts because
Okay.
they're not technically sours. All right.
So peach and
Peach,
apricot.
apricot, raspberry, cranberry. We've done blackberry. We've done.
Bug zapper.
I know our bug zapper. I keep thinking it's those things that you snap.
Snap it.
Like right.
We're under
Somebody's
attack.
screwing with us.
Cracking a whip over there. Thought I was off the clock, damn it.
I feel like there's another one that we fit. Maybe not. That's a hard question. That's a hard question. Hi. Hello. We're closed.
You can,
Do you want to come on camera and say hi?
I saw.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We didn't close. We didn't lock it behind them. I know. Thanks for stopping in. We're open tomorrow at noon.
It might have been a BlabberMalt stew. Who knew? Who knows?
But what a
Sorry.
great feeling. People want to come in here even
Hi, we're
when you're
closed.
closed.
Hi, we're closed.
No,
Hi,
I think
we're closed.
that's great that people want to be here all the time.
Happens regularly.
So let me look here. How many beers we got on tap here? We
Oh,
keep,
shit. According to Chris at 83, 5 too many. I love you, Chris. We have 15. I think we have 15. We
And
used to have-
that's pretty standard, usually you have
used to have 18.
18?
Yeah,
18,
we did have a
between
few more.
15.
We had a kegerator back behind the bar that we used a couple taps of. We've kind of abandoned that.
Yeah. We are trying to narrow it down to 15 styles out of 240. So, I mean, I think that's pretty respectable.
That is.
Do you always have certain styles that will always be on? Since you're saying that you're
Yes.
trying to narrow it down, you've got 15 different styles, but you'll always keep at least I'm assuming always a saison of some sort on. And is there anything else that's a must-have that's always on?
German Pilsner, American Light Lager, some sort of American Pale Ale, which is Revival, Sayuri Day. Let's talk about the Schwarz beer, which
Let's.
is everybody's all of a sudden surprise favorite. It's because it's very fun. Always a tart. Always a big beer, a big ABV American style, a big ABV Belgian style. I do need to have a hazy, and I do need to have a standard traditional American IPA.
I feel like there's like 10 beers.
Our hef isn't
That-
standard. We have
in
about
hef.
5 that are solid, and then we have tap handles that we try and maintain particular style or variety of color, alcohol, hop. Keep a varying profile of flavor, color.
That's got to be hard when you're, trying to map out your brew day. You're like, what's going to blow next? Because can't let these lapse. That's got to be a nightmare.
That's actually my very fun space.
She has,
Really?
she has a spreadsheet for that, I bet you.
I'll bet you have a
I
spreadsheet.
don't have a spreadsheet because I am not Excel girl.
She has a couple spiral bound notebooks she fills up rapidly.
I am. I'm actually a very good dream worker, is what I actually think happens. I don't spreadsheets and I get along when I know what is the information that I need to get from it. I don't know. Sometimes I don't mind saying that I'm technically challenged, that I don't know how to do those kinds of things. But when I know the information I need to get and I understand how to format it to get it to that information, it's very useful, but it's also very scary for me because I'm good at it once I figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's not the space that I thrive in. What I thrive in is logistics. I can figure out what needs to happen when, so that we don't run out of it. But it couldn't happen until this year when I finally decided these are the beers that need to stay on all the time. So there are 6 beers that will stay on all the time. Then there are 4 categories that need to stay on outside of those 6, need to stay on all the time. I don't do the same hazy all the time. I don't do the same double hazy all the time.
But a
I don't
variation
do
of
the
it.
same
The
West.
style is
Yes,
there. Yeah, it may not
yes.
be-
You need to explore this term, dream worker. What is that like? You sleep on it and you're thinking on it subconsciously, and then it comes to the forefront when it needs to?
I actually don't know how it works. I really do think that there's something in it though, because
Yeah.
I can think about something until I don't know how to
It's
I'm still-
subconscious.
It is
And then,
subconscious because I know I wake up thinking about it,
Yeah.
and I wake up like, oh, I gotta go get that done. Like I know what to do. The past several days have been very, very, very hard because I have other things on my mind. I'm not able to sleep, so when I don't get my full 9 hours of respite, then I am
Yeah.
spent. A middle-aged woman is different than being a 40-year-old woman. I will say that. And my dreams are telling me things like it's really interesting. If you put it out there, it is going to come back to you. And so
Yeah.
I do a lot of. I don't know how far we want to go into that because it's not about beer. But I do rely on my dreams a lot. I rely on being able to waking up and being like, oh, I think I had a really great idea last night, or I feel refreshed. I'm ready to go. It's not the way that I felt this morning, but it's the way that I felt last Wednesday when I was like, this is what we're going to do. Monday, Like, I was not in the mood to do anything at all or to make any decisions or to push any beer. Sometimes you push beer and that's not the right decision. You just need to stop and say, I'm on beer time. So Carl and I are on beer time this week. So, welcome.
So
There's a beer name in there somewhere.
Right.
So you mentioned 9 hours of sleep, so I'm going to ask, I mean, is this both your full-time jobs?
This is my full-time job.
Okay. And Carl, for you as well?
It is my sole employment. I am technically a part-time employee. We max that out.
Okay. But
Make the
there's
most of
there's
the-
not another,
make
I
the
mean,
most.
this is it for you guys, which is,
I came into this from construction when Jennifer offered me this position. I entertained the idea of keeping some side work and doing it, but then when it came down to it, I didn't want to cut into my own time. I'd rather be working on my own house or, you know, doing something for friends instead of trying
I
to
mean, that's great
hustle
that
and
you can
have a
focus on
yeah. I
this.
can multitask. I'm better when I focus on a task.
Yeah, that's solid. That makes sense. I'm the same way. Yeah, I got to do this. I mean, you're not really multitasking. You're just doing this and switching to that and switching this, and it's just inefficient. I need
Unless
to.
you're a multitasker, because you're like, I am really good when I can do this, have this going, and that's
Wait,
going,
some-
and that
some
going,
people
and that going.
need
and
to
then I
have
can
that,
come
yes.
back and, like, when I have 8 things going, that's where I think the best.
They thrive on
So-
chaos, yes.
Yes, I do actually kind of thrive on chaos. Yeah,
It gets the adrenaline going sometimes.
it does. But I'm also not here during service, so that's a little bit different of a chaos.
Not here during service.
So I'm not here, I don't work during restaurant open. I'm not serving tables, I'm not talking to customers.
I didn't know if that was when the priest comes in and stuff, if it's
Right.
service.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's when he comes to me in my dreams. He's like, Jennifer.
I have a name for a beer for you.
I figured
Father
out-
Tom.
Yes.
What's our next beer?
All right.
Did we do the Schwartz yet?
Let's do the Schwartz.
The
Yeah.
Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you.
So the Schwartz beer was, all right, so we opened with a collaboration with Terrestrial, with the Schwartz beer, which was, I think, 5.2%. It was named Unlimited Devotion. Grateful Dead reference. And it was a huge
I was going to
hit.
say you guys have to be deadheads. I mean, have to
Well,
be.
we're more Allman Brothers, and which is funny because it was just yesterday, and I forgot to send you the email. Just yesterday, the anniversary of Watkins Glen, which was theoretically or historically bigger than Woodstock. And it was the Grateful Dead, the band, and Allman Brothers. Did you know this? Because I almost
I did not know this.
I
I would
almost-
actually
yeah.
equate my preference for the Grateful Dead with my preference for sours. I was not a Grateful Dead fan.
Wow, Carl!
It was my brother Kevin and Jennifer here, especially in the brewery, that have opened my eyes and widened my horizons to the Grateful Dead.
Right here, brother.
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did
So that Schwartz is actually
I
very
think it
nice.
was
So let's get back to the Schwartz.
The Schwartz.
okay? Schwartz, yes.
No, were you going to say something about music?
Like, yeah,
Dickie Betts?
was it? I don't, it was Greg Allman's son or some relative of his has a band, and they were just in town. My buddy Eric's guy I went to high school with. I don't know if you guys
Oh, I think
something Allman.
Dwayne Betts was just up
Yeah.
at Northfield Park with.
Okay,
But
I
they're
must have
also
been it.
coming back. So Devon Ullman, Greg Ullman's son, and Dickie Betts' son.
Yeah, this is ringing a bell.
Dwayne
This is ringing a bell.
Formed a band called Palmetto
No, Palmetto
is just Dwayne's.
Dwayne Betts. He'll
So-
be in Kent here
Yeah,
in a couple
in
months.
October 3. And
Okay.
I'm in the 5th row.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
I
I'm
figured.
Not, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so you're familiar.
What does that have to do with Schwarzbeer?
Nothing,
Let's-
nothing at all.
let's-
Let's get on with
let's
what's going
talk
on.
Shenanigans.
You digress.
Uh,
Schwartz beer.
you can't get a Schwartz beer.
Oh no, we were talking
Nobody-
about the Grateful Dead and
Because of the name.
Unlimited
Yeah, the
Devotion.
name.
When
So
you
it
did
was
this
called-
originally with Terrestrial,
Yes.
your first brew.
So
But now it's not called that. What's it called right now?
Well, I wanted to be very strategic about my collaborations that I did with other breweries to fill my taps so that we had at least 8 beers on tap when we opened. It was impossible for me to do the lagers that I wanted to do and all the other beers that I wanted to open with. Actually, the third beer that we brewed, I had brewed once as a home brewer. But I decided at the last minute that I needed to have an American Amber Lager, and that it's just like, well, we're going to brew an American Amber Lager, and we brewed 3 times that week. The week before, we brewed 4 times. We brewed 3 collaborations. It was insane. We brewed 9 times in 6 days.
They're all
6
here?
6 brews in 9 days. Like between here and
collaborations.
in our collaborations. So we actually were able to open with 8 different brews. But I wanted to do an experiment where I didn't have to buy all the beer or brew all the beer to see how Schwarzbier would end up. And people loved Schwarzbier. And what I loved about the Schwarzbier is that they loved Schwarzbier, but I didn't want a 5.2% Schwarzbier. I wanted an under 4.5% Schwarzbier. So we brewed our own version of Schwarzbier
At 4.4.
at 4.4%. Well, compared to 5.2, it was significant because 5.2 Schwarzbier sits different. Hi-Ho does a lovely version of it. I love it. But anyway.
But what's good about that, though, is if you can, again, usually lower ABVs sometimes lose some of the flavor.
Yes.
You're not losing any flavor. Is this now 4?
Did you taste this?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
That's 4.4?
This is 4.4%.
But it's full bodied, it has lots of beer texture and flavor. It's not like you're missing anything
No.
with that, which is
Just missing
which
the
is
alcohol.
fabulous.
Right. And what I love about it is that I had some young servers. So a lot of our staff is half my age. And the bartenders obviously don't have the breadth of knowledge of beer or experience drinking beer that I do. So it's very fun to see what they enjoy drinking. And there was an early bartender that thought the Schwarzbier was like her OMG moment, which was lovely
It's her
because she
gateway beer.
kept, right, it was her gateway beer and it was really lovely. The name came from another server because I couldn't figure out what to name it. And she said, how about we name it something having to do with, I said, I wanted a Kent Black Squirrel reference. I don't want it to be directly like blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she said Sayuri Day is the scientific name for the family of black squirrels. So Kent has a very direct relationship with black squirrels. And it was perfect. So it was the name is never going to change. There are some other things that didn't work. Sayuri Day took a minute to catch on, but the people that love Sayuri Day as a Schwarzbier now understand Sayuri Day, and they also understand that it's a Schwarzbier. And also at the same time, within the last 4 years, I want to say within the last 3 years, and it's not because of me or Terrestrial or anybody else, but it's just all of a sudden people started brewing Schwarzbiers. And especially Willie Pig. I will give credit where credit was. I mean, come on. I mean, when you set yourself up as a lager brewery and you don't have a Schwarzbier on tap, I don't know what you mean. But his Schwarzbier is not the same as mine, but it's a Schwarzbier. And it also goes to show you that there can be different variations of the same brew, depending on what your preferences are and how you're attacking the science and art.
It's a style, but the profile and the specific tastes can be slightly different. They'll still have some similar characteristics, but it can be unique to the place. What is your best-selling beer that you guys have here?
So last week our top beer was...
that leads right into our next drink here. Perfect. Wow, I didn't even know that.
Nice segue.
Is that it?
That's the switch.
Yeah, I was going to say. Because now that it's been sitting warm for an hour and a half, then it smells like apricots.
Switch Tower, West Coast IPA?
West Coast IPA. That is not the Switch Tower. That means that is the peach tart. We must have had two peach
was-
tarts.
Yeah.
Okay, not
Let's
a
try
bad.
this one. Because that's the Hefeweizen I know.
That's gonna be the hot pepper cream ale, isn't it?
That's the hot pepper cream ale. I don't think that we actually had a switch tower on the board.
That's okay, but that
Oh,
is your
anyway.
but that's your best seller right now.
It's always an IPA that is our number one. I remember, well, always, except for 2 times I remember, that Pilsner was our number one. And it just thrills me to death when something other than an IPA, like, sold more than any other pint. It's just kind of fun. It's just kind of fun for a brewer.
I have a feeling.
Even though I cut my teeth on IPAs, so even though I don't drink them, in the 2000s, before Two Hearted broke onto the scene, even though Stone IPA was always on the scene, but Two Hearted did it, for especially
Yeah.
the Midwest. As soon as they started brewing that beer, everybody was like, I need to figure out how to brew that beer. It was kind of like Dreadnought for IPAs.
That's a cold switch tower.
I think we drank a warm switch tower and passed it off as the peach.
'Cause I
Ah!
don't know.
Because you said this is the tart.
All
Yeah,
right,
but I think that
it
I
might have
think
been
there
two
was
tarts.
I think there was 2 tarts.
Because that is
I
definitely
didn't
that was
pour
definitely
out.
West
Switch tower.
Coast,
Yeah.
dry finish, hoppy up front.
So we didn't brew our first West Coast until last fall. Our first, we were brewing standard traditional American IPAs because I really wanted to. This is when I thought that I could. This is when I thought that I could educate some of our beer drinkers, into understanding styles and characteristics of certain styles. Some pay
She also
attention.
didn't want to use Citra.
I also didn't want to use Citra. So Citra to me is, for those of you that were home brewing in the late 2000s, like 2008, 2009, and you loved Summit. Summit was full of green onion and garlic, and you're like, oh, what is this? Like, you couldn't get rid of the garlic, and it was like. And then you try to use Columbus, and you're like, why does this smell like sweaty orange socks? And then you're like, I don't really know. Like, so Citra was always like that to me until I always knew that you can use hops in a certain way to get the profile that you want. If your system allows it, and if you have the know
Know how to do it.
how to do it.
Manipulate, yeah.
So I really, and I like certain characteristics about Citra, but it always smells too dank to me. So anything too dank, like, I love you, Brew Kettle, but White Raja. I love you, Fatheads, but Headhunter. I mean, it's not my favorite IPA.
Yeah.
Give me Stone IPA all day. I can do it all day. Literally.
Well,
all day.
you hear the stories that Citra, before it was Citra, it was a number or whatever, and it sat on the shelves for years because like nobody wants this.
Nobody knows how to do
wants
anything with
nobody
it.
wants this characteristic, and so. But then they're like, oh, let's put it out now. These IPAs are coming up, and then it took off.
And also, Citra has been bred more successfully, and they've been breeding it to do these certain things, right? So I think that it's a better hop now than it was certainly even
First
7
bred,
years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have to. I mean, we're gonna have to get you back on the show here because we're getting close to an
Yeah,
hour.
we're in an hour and a half.
here.
Yeah,
Too much
It's
to
not-
talk about. I mean,
which
it's
which is
beer.
which
We're
is
only at the
great.
boil.
I know. We're just at the boil. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to wrap up. I mean, we'll get the last beer going here, and
Okay.
if you want to talk a little bit about some stuff going on there. This is the Hefeweizen, is that correct?
This is Regenbogen. So this is another one of the things that can go either way. So Saison de Clocher, nobody really caught on, and part of the reason is Saison. Also, I wanted to say about Saison, I think that Saison has a bad. It was hard for me to pass off
a drinkable beer that had 2 French words. So it had saison, which is very simple. It means season in French. But then I also had saison de cloche. Although Regenbogen, which is German for rainbow, and we released it the first time in June, which is Pride Month. It means rainbow in German. And it is one of our, consistently in the top 5.
It's a
So
people's choice.
we
It did not
Yeah,
go
it's-
away because it was so popular.
cannot get rid of Regenbogen. Yeah.
Very, very easy drinking.
Yep.
A lot of flavor.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that.
So what beers do you have coming up? New beers
Anything coming out?
on tap?
So in the tank back there, well, in the lager tank, fresh batch of Sayuri Day, Fest beer. So we do a Fest beer and a Märzen because they are 2 different styles. It's Märzen Oktoberfest and Fest beer. Unless you're Chris, hi Chris, then you have something called a Fest beer, or no, you name it. What did he do? He named it Oktoberfest, but it was a Fest beer. I don't know what he did, but it was brilliant. But we have 2 different versions of an Oktoberfest style beer that we drink in America. We also have a new batch of Confessional in the tank, and we have a new batch of a new variation of a Big Belgian, which I think is more a triple than a Golden Strong, but I'm not sure. I think it's more of a Golden Strong at this point.
You have a name
Great style.
yet?
Yes.
Yes.
But she's not telling.
She's not telling.
No, can I say, because I haven't even told Carl.
Oh.
No.
You don't have to.
That's all right.
Breaking news. BlabberMalt Show exclusive.
I have to find out at some point.
Well, because it's very religious, but I don't know if it's appropriate. It's super appropriate.
Well, let's present it to the panel. Let's go.
I can't remember right now.
After all that build-up? All right.
Oh, no, hold on.
It's all right, but so we got.
It'll just come shooting out here in a little
It
bit.
will.
Yeah, that's all right,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I
that's
forgot
it.
that.
We'll know exactly what she's
'Cause
talking
I just
about.
thought about it this afternoon.
All right. So,
So
again,
these are coming out in the next month or so,
That's probably a couple weeks.
a couple weeks.
Fest beer
Oktoberfest.
should be out in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Within 2 weeks. Märzen, it's a new Märzen too. So we had Marvin's Märzen. Marvin's was named after Marvin Kent, who is one of the founders and economic developers of Kent.
Not
We
the
named it
Martian?
After him. We're gonna name it something
Not the
different.
Martian.
Although every time that I say Marvin's, I always think of Marvin.
That's the first thing I thought of when you said that.
So maybe I'll name it Bugs Bunny now.
Marvin Martian makes me think of Marvin Martian, yes.
It was Rapture.
Not a bad. Rapture.
Rapture.
Sure.
I mean, because we have all the signs now. The signs are in place, Carl. Sorry.
All right.
There's too much going on in the world.
All right, so you got those beers coming out. We have talked that you guys out here do have food. You have a full kitchen, correct? What kind
Not
of?
tonight, but yes.
Well, yes, normally. Which you guys are
No,
open
we're turning
Wednesday,
people away.
Wednesday through Sunday. Is that right?
Yes, pretty much 12 till 10. And then we close an hour early on Sunday.
And like I said, full kitchen menu. They can see that online if they want to look.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
For lunch specials, desserts. Great food. A lot of stuff made from scratch. Sauces, dressings are made in-house. Kitchen guys are great. They do a lot of really nice work back there in a tight spot.
Great.
Now, as far as do you guys have music here at your location?
We have music right there
Yeah.
in a little
right
corner.
over there.
We find that acoustic variations work a lot better than maybe some others.
Yeah.
The sound in here is great. The tiles on the ceiling are acoustically sound. There is no barrier in that little arch area, but that is the best place for them to be. Unfortunately, I think that makes a big difference because it echoes. So if you have a drum, sometimes it's a little bit louder.
Okay.
But if we have a trio or a duo, then it's nice and it's popular. People like to
Yeah.
come and hang out. And we do blues the 4th Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
We partnered with the Cleveland Blues Society. And it's really
Yeah,
cool.
they bring in a
It's-
house band, they
Yeah.
play about a 45-minute hour set, and then they have a sign-up sheet, and the second half of the night is all rotating cast of players.
like you can just sit in.
Just sit
Oh,
in,
cool. Just jam.
just jam.
Yeah.
And then they've got the house band, so if there's nobody that wants to play drum, the house drummer plays with everybody, and then there's no bass player, so the house bass player sits in with the other guys. And a lot of guitars, heavy on guitar, but
Sounds fun.
Lots of fun.
And other events. I saw on a flyer over there, you have a puzzle race or something? Puzzle night?
So there's a puzzle contest coming up.
Yeah.
I saw that posted online. I think it's next week.
Yeah, a lot of
There's a
collaborations
race.
like that with certain businesses downtown.
Yeah.
So Board and Bevy is here collaborating a lot, as well as Cake Pops and cookie decorating. And I'm sorry that I can't remember her name. But there's a lot of, there's a wreath
we
making.
do a monthly trivia.
shop, monthly trivia. We're not here for a lot of that because we're production and
Yeah.
like we're kind of standard
And you like to
hours,
stay,
but-
and you like to stay out of the service.
Yeah, the service.
It just doesn't really, I can't get any work done well, it's different. Socializing and it's one of the separations that you come to find that is different when you have a large space and you're catering to a number of different demographics. Where is your best time served? Your time best served? And my best time served is producing, and which is not conducive to socializing. And so
Yeah.
I find that when I work on Saturday, there's 12 people that want to talk to me, and I can't get work done.
And
So
plus, you
it's
don't want to
different.
come out here and just kick people's asses in trivia. Your patrons, they don't take well to that.
We don't have a lot of beer trivia, and that's the only thing that I would probably be good at. Although karaoke,
Well, I don't know, but genus species of squirrels, you probably know a little bit of that.
well, one of them.
Only one.
Well, when it comes up, you're going to own that category. So we got some stuff coming up. Next week, Tom has selfishly decided to take vacation, so we're going to have a
Where are you
week
going?
off.
Hilton Head.
Oh, good. Before hurricane season.
Hopefully, last year we ran into Hurricane Diana while we were down there, unfortunately, but
Not this year.
not this year.
Nothing
Nope.
on the
Nothing's
books.
happening.
Yeah.
It's gonna be better this year.
Not yet.
Next thing we have coming up, the 19th, Laughing Bomb. We're going to be in Avon Lake checking, Zach's new place out. Is Blue Monkey? Are they still
I'm
tentative?
waiting back there. There's
Okay.
some vacations going on, but we're trying to get Brad and maybe even Rick to come into the studio.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So we will hold off
hold
on
on to
announcing
officially
that.
announcing that one. Yep.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, any concerns, you have some name ideas for beers, give us an email, blabbermalt@gmail.com. We will pass those along. Keep it clean. Nothing having to do with moist or anything like that. Religious names are welcome. So, yeah. No, yeah.
Religious,
Or
river,
bell references.
music,
Bell
bells.
references.
How many different
yeah.
languages can
And
you
no,
name bells?
No more languages. We have to stray away from languages.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing.
Okay.
Yeah, we're keeping it simple.
Okay.
All right.
KISS.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, you guys, thanks a lot for having us out. This is a beautiful brewery. You have making some beautiful beers. Get down to Kent, Ohio. Check out Bell Tower Brewing. You will not be mistaken.
Beer,
You will not
food,
be
great
disappointed.
people. Come down and see them.
I mean, look at that lace. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Look how fucking clear that is.
Nice.
Cheers.
Cheers, people. And you know what else we say? Stay malty, Cleveland.
Oh, then come back in Oktoberfest for Oktoberfest. Stay malty.
Yes.
And
Yeah, the Burn